So, as you were saying, you guys use it a lot. Do you think that it's important for journalists now? Do you think journalists can make it without using social media at all, or do you think they need to integrate it at some
I
level?
think I think like they did it for years without it. Surely, I suppose you could get by without it, but I think you're going to be just setting yourself back
Mm-hmm.
behind behind everyone else. Um, it's just like it's of course not a necessity, but it really almost is.
Yeah.
There's just so much potential. If you use social media correctly, to get like the best stories. You know, before, like I said, journalism is competitive. We are competing with other newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, we are. And like this is my opinion. Like we are a student newspaper, but like I hold us, and I think everyone else here does. Like we hold ourselves to the professional standard.
Oh,
We are we are competing against the other papers in the area to bring you the UNH college sports scene, sports in our department at least.
mm-hmm.
So if we can get a story out there, or we can hear about a story and report on it before any of your other local papers can, that's something we can definitely be proud of.
Do you think that journalism, when you use it as, do you think it's a good way to keep people in check in terms of like franchises, teams play, even around here on campus, like the teams and stuff like that, and players? I think it's an easy way in terms of like a sport democracy. Do you think it's a good way to like make sure you keep the truth from basically fulfilling the normal ways of a journalism role in democracy, whereas you guys are like making sure you keep the truth from the lies and separate all that stuff, keep all them in check and make sure they're not lying and all that stuff? Do you think that social media helps you do that every day in terms of just doing that kind of work?
So like does social media like help us like I'm sorry, what do you mean, like keep us?
Does it help you in terms of like the teams and the organization is like for athletics as a whole? Does it help you keep them in check in terms of lies and scandals and all that stuff? In terms
Yeah,
of like,
well, anytime, if you look at Twitter or Facebook, the university has an account on
mm-hmm.
each. I think just about every single team has an account on each. The entire athletic department has a profile on Facebook. I think they do. I follow them on Twitter. They tweet scores and play by play of every UNH athletic game going on. Um, as far as like your stories go, maybe other than your game stories, but like if something happens, like something like I don't know, like a player or a coach like gets in trouble like with something, like okay, so like take like what happened at Penn State with like the Jerry Sandusky thing. Um, when that happened, there were probably no, I know for facts I was like following on Twitter. There were several different stories going on where it's just like, well, geez, what's the truth,
Mm-hmm.
So there are times like that, like I said before, where you need to like really like sift through all of the information you're getting
Mm-hmm.
and look at your sources, really think about who's credible and just try and get the most straight story you can. Your best bet is to see what the organization itself probably says first. They probably won't say anything in a case like that, but definitely around here, we pay really close attention to what the like athletic department's sending out, like the information they're getting. We get press releases from them all the time on stuff, but see what they're saying, and then but we also do like look at other sources, see what they're saying about it too.
Mm-hmm.
To try and get the other sides of the story, but we really try to focus on like the media relations departments of the teams, because it's their job to get
Yeah.
the information out so rumors don't start.
Yeah. Do you now? I know obviously you're a big sports fan. Away from journalism aside, do you, as a fan, think it helps you find your news quicker? Social media, especially with Twitter, obviously, because that's the main one everyone uses. But like, obviously, I know you obviously go to all the websites out there. But do you obviously find yourself at times using Twitter to find the stories? And
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah, every day. I probably, I don't know how much exactly I read every day, but like, I definitely read at least probably like 3 or 4 news articles that only because I saw them on my Twitter feed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what you were saying before with like Jackie McMullen's article, like ESPN tweeted that out and that's how you found it.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be you could go on yahoosports.com and you would just see what their headlines were, but I hardly do that now. I just see what pops up on Twitter, because if it pops up on Twitter, some people are retweeting it, whatever. It's clearly stirring the pot, and you're gonna see what people are interested. People like seeing what their friends are reading,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's a really big part of it, because like you follow your friends on Twitter, or you're obviously friends with your friends on Facebook, and they post something up like, oh man, I just read this. Like you're definitely more inclined to read it,
Mm-hmm.
and I think going back to like how we use social media, that's really big for us too. Is if we can put out a story on Twitter and we look and we see it gets retweeted, however many times, maybe like a couple hundred times, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
That's really good because it's reaching that many more people. Once you put something on the internet and it's in the hands of social media, it's like it's out there and it's gonna spread like wildfire.
So do you think that as a fan, your sources for news have definitely expanded, and you found more places to look just because of like one tweet you happen to find?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, from a from a fan's perspective, like in journalism, you got to be like objective. But like from a fan's perspective, I would say, I think about like my dad, like before the internet. I mean, I don't know, we probably started using the internet when I was like 4 or 5 years old, so I wasn't really reading the sports page of the sports page of the Boston Globe when I was that young.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
like, I know for like my dad, like he probably, he read the sports page of the Boston Globe, of the Boston Herald, like his entire life,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where he got his like sports news from. Reading books, like listening to sports talk radio,
Yep.
watching the news. It wasn't in those things were like held to certain time constraints. It's nothing like it is now, where you can go on the internet whenever you want. You can go on the
Mhm.
internet on your phone while you're walking to class,
Yeah.
and you can read an article on the way. And so, as a fan, I think it's definitely better because you can get your information that much quicker,
Mhm.
and your, like craving for information can be like, your thirst can be quenched
Mhm.
that much faster.
Yeah.
But I suppose, like, for some fans, that might make their lives a little too hard because now you have all these distractions, especially if, like, you play fantasy football or something, if you're really talking about fan stuff. Because then, like, oh, man, like, you're constantly looking at your Twitter because, Wes Welker, like, got hurt or something or
Mhm.
whatever, and you're like, oh, crap, now I got to do this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it definitely has its effects on journalists and fans differently, but it can be beneficial to both in a huge way. So, and my dad still reads the newspaper. I read the newspaper
Yeah, I read
too.
it,
So,
yeah.
people like getting their information.
Mhm.
It's really just about what you prefer, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's all I have.
Cool.
Is there anything you missed? I think I missed, or you want to just like a final message or whatever about it in general, or
like what, just about like social
just
media
like
and journalism?
just the overall like message about it? I don't know. Is there anything you think I missed personally?
No, I think we basically covered everything. Like, just like, final point, just I guess would be like, pay attention to what you're reading and who's writing it, because if you're just reading a fan blog, chances are it might not be the most credible source.
Yeah.
But just pay attention, I guess. Social media can be very beneficial, but it can also be very ignorant. So, yeah,
That works. Sweet. Especially.